What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel as we continue to make our way through the onslaught of horror trailers that were released over the past week. We're doing our reviews and reactions through them over the course of the next few days, getting caught up on them all. I think there were at least 10 plus trailers last week. Some were announced, like this one that we're getting ready to look at, and some I just happened to stumble across on that were based on articles that came out a month or two ago, and the trailers just happened to drop kind of quietly with no recent news or updates on the trailers dropping, which is a bit surprising because I think some of them definitely need to be highlighted because I think there is an audience out there for this content. So as you see here, Dangerous Animals trailer unleashes a new ocean predator, and it's not the sharks. So we've covered this film already as far as the teaser that came out not too long ago. So now we have an official trailer releasing for it. So we're not going to spend too much time going through the article details because, again, much of this we've already covered. But we are just going to cherry pick through it just to see if there's anything new here that we don't already know. So as we see here, let's see, the ocean is unleashing a new predator this summer with Dangerous Animals, the new horror movie from Australian filmmaker Sean Bryn. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. A killer new trailer has arrived this morning, which watch it down below. And again, this dropped I think 2 or 3 days ago. So when it says here this morning, it's not actually the day of this video dropping. Dangerous Animal swims into theaters on June 6, 2025. So I'd imagine, even though this is I think Australian based, I think this is going to be the US release date. I'd imagine it's going to be released in Australia around the same time. But however, I do know that there have been times where films like this release in their native country, so to speak. Like, for example, Australia for this one. Already, it's already been released there. They've already seen it, and it's just now making its way to the U.S. Based on distribution rights. Okay, so we have here in the summer horror movie, trapped on a killer's boat with hungry sharks circling below. A surfer must outwit a predator more dangerous than the ocean itself. Will she escape or become the next offering to the deep? Sean Bryn returns with his third visceral feature. Casting information here we've covered. We're not going to cover that again. A little bit more casting information. Again, don't need to cover all that. Let's see here. We have a quote here. That's how the spider catches the fly, Bryn said, of Tucker's disarming qualities. He's got to be charismatic to get people on the boat, but then equally terrifying, but yet still somehow capture the damaged child inside. And I spoke a lot about just the opportunity within horror. Villains can just own the stage in a way. And then we go on the way that Kathy Bates does in Misery, Christian Bale in American Psycho, and Jack Nicholson in The Shining, and really having fun. Byron continued, but also has got to be a nuanced performance. I'd always been a fan of Jai's and just a really solid actor. I had this feeling that there was this weird actor inside him that wanted to explode, and I think it's my favorite performance of his. I mean, I'm biased, but I really feel like it's one of those iconic villains, and in a way he does see himself as the shark. Nick Leppard wrote the screenplay for Dangerous Animals, and a little bit more background in producing call outs. So we have the trailer here, which we're going to watch, and we have the poster here. The poster is the same one we've already seen before. I really like this poster. But as you guys will have heard me say, I will continue to say until maybe somebody comes across one of my videos when it comes to these things and stops putting all this text on posters. Again, I understand if this is a poster that you'd have to put out on the side of a movie theater or whatever, because you have to highlight the rating, and all that, because it's for, you got to get out there and advertise it. I get that. But when it comes to just a solid movie poster, get rid of all this nonsense. Put Dangerous Animals here. Get rid of all this down here. Get rid of this. The ocean leaves no trace. Just have this hand here with these strings. These people, one broken, falling down, one still holding on, another one falling down because the string broke, and then you have the shark down here. I think that'd be a killer poster without all this nonsense in the middle. All you need is the title, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything else down below the poster, but let's just double check. Yep, nothing else down here. So I did see, though, on the poster, Shudder is listed right here. So I'd imagine once this gets done in the theaters, it's because the article didn't mention it, anywhere. I imagine once this is done in theaters, it's going to be making its way to Shudder. So if you don't happen to see it in theaters, or you happen to miss it, not playing in your area at a convenient time, I imagine just wait for it probably a month or so after the theatrical release date, and it should be popping up on Shudder. Otherwise, I don't understand why their name would even be there. All right, so that's the article details. So let's jump over to the new trailer for Dangerous Animals and see what they are going to give us.
Oh my God, I can't believe I let you talk me into this.
It's gonna be a great experience.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, crew. There's still one thing we need to take care of. Promise you it'll help. Close your eyes. Take a big, deep inhale. And out. In. And out. Welcome aboard. I see you, like, come alive on that board. It's spiritual. I feel the same about what I do. It's my true calling.
What is this? Where are we? We're on his boat.
Whose boat?
I don't think you want to know.
You're a fighter. I love fighters. Makes for a better show. Right places, please. And action. Tell me that ain't the greatest show on earth. Every fisherman loves a good fight. The thing the fish doesn't realize is that once that hook sets, no matter how hard she runs,
Help! I need help.
she's already in the boat. Behind you! Yeah, you and me, we fend for ourselves. We're sharks.
I'm nothing like you.
Oh, come on, don't be like that. This is your time to shine.
So I view this film and many films like this, like you may have heard me say when it comes to like films that take place out in the woods, group of friends go on a camping trip and they end up coming across some, killer who's been out there for 20, 30 years just killing campers as they happen to cross paths with them. Prime example, I've mentioned this before, like Wrong Turn. I remember seeing Wrong Turn in theaters, and yeah, camping, no, not happening. If I learn anything from horror films is what not to do. Wrong Turn told me don't go off on a side road thinking you're looking for a shortcut. Sit in traffic and just wait it out. Something like this, it's very much like that. Don't go out in the woods. Don't go out on a boat with some random stranger. And then now you're going to find yourself either dead or, captured in the hull of his boat. And now you're just going to be shark food. Now, one thing about films like this, though, especially when, very small cast and very small surroundings. And I mean surroundings as far as where the bulk of the film is going to be taking place at. And the bulk of this film, obviously we see some scenes where, they're not on the boat, but I think that's going to be very far and few between. I think the majority, as probably, and it makes sense, the majority of the film will take place on this boat. Now, it's a boat. It's not like you're in a cabin in the woods where you can run out into the woods in any direction, but you still happen to get captured by the killer and dragged back to this cabin or this secret, cave or whatever. You're on a boat, and I think while most horror films are just going straight for the scares, the kills, the gore, things of that nature, for me, when it comes to something like this, the story is gonna have to play a very big role. It's gonna have to kind of carry the film a little bit more so than it probably would in any other aspect, because again, It's on a boat, and there's only so many places. Once she finds a way to get loose from the handcuffs and try to escape, there's only so many places you can run and hide on a boat before you get found, and the killer is going to be right there. And we see that kind of play out a little bit in this trailer. So I'm hoping that this doesn't become a situation where it has a slow burn, and then we start to get all this action, and then it quickly becomes very just rinse and repeat. Like, oh well, does it make sense how she can keep escaping from this small 10 foot by 10 foot? I mean, I know the boat's bigger than that, so I'm just being facetious. But how does she manage to keep escaping, hiding on this small boat, and he can't seem to find her, right? But again, we see some other scenes where, you know, he gets on like this smaller boat, like I don't want to say a lifeboat, but a smaller boat to then probably go to shore. We see some scenes where they are on shore. So unless, you know, the majority of the film plays out there, she manages to get loose when they're coming to a shore, and then he has to go out and get her. It's going to be interesting to see how that story will play out, because again, if majority of this film takes place on the boat, the story will have to carry it in some way, shape, or form. You can't just rely on the fact of it just being constant jump scare and then cat and mouse, because there's not a lot of room for cat and mouse. So I am interested to see this one. We see here June 6th is the release date, the theatrical release date. So we have less than a month away before this one hits. I don't think this will be one I'll see in theaters. This one will probably end up being one I get on digital and we'll watch in the comfort of my home and then do a spoiler review on it. So we'll probably do a spoiler review. It probably won't be till early July when it probably becomes available. But it does appear this one, because Shudder, as we mentioned, was on the poster, but Shudder was featured at the very beginning of the trailer. So I imagine this will probably hit Shudder as well. So depending upon the release date schedule, if it hits digital rental purchase around the same time it hits Shudder, I'll probably just stream it and then we'll come back and do a spoiler review. So anyways, that's going to do it for this review reaction for Dangerous Animals. Again, dropping in theaters on June 6th. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. I'm also interested to know what people think about, almost as we talked about, the resurgence of body horror films. Do we see a resurgence in some of these films where like sharks are more involved, right? I mean, we have Jaws. Jaws is a classic, but I think a lot of the subsequent sequels to the Jaws franchise were very much of a miss. I mean, they were entertaining to some degree, but nothing will ever top the original Jaws film. But we're starting to see, are we seeing a resurgence of like sharks involved in horror films, or animals, right? I'm starting to see more and more of these coming about. So let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we will see you at the next one. Later.